Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Jensen from Dean's Chat. If you're on the fence as to whether you want to join the American Podiatric Medical Association, jump on in. It's a new APMA. Whether it's advocacy concerns, scope of practice, billing and coding, consider membership at the APMA as your professional insurance. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dean's Chat, where we discuss all things podiatric medicine. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Jensen. I'm the Dean at the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine and host for the Dean's Chat podcast. Once again, I'm with my co-host, Dr. Johanna Richey. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Kind of celebrating the big day today. We had a 100% pass rate on National Boards Part 1. We just got the results and so happy for the students.
Oh man, I'm so proud of them. They are just absolutely outstanding. So I fully agree. 100%. It's phenomenal. Cheers to them.
Cheers to them. I think it's our 5th time in the last 8 years we had 100%. So that's exciting awesome. Times. Exciting times. Arizona's hot, right? There you go.
There you go. Hot in so many ways.
There you go. Joe, we have a phenomenal guest today. Joining us from North Carolina, Dr. Ashleigh Medda. Dr. Medda, welcome to Dean's Chat.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for making the time. And we're very informal on Dean's Chat. If it's okay with you, let's go first names. Ashleigh, Joe, and Jeff.
That sounds great.
Yeah, Ashleigh, it's so exciting, Jeff. I actually got to meet Ashleigh in person. So she and I worked together on the American Board of Foot and Ankle Surgeons Exam Prep Task Force Committee. That's a mouthful. For about a year now, but we got to meet in person at the APMA at the Young Physician Mixer Social something that was happening. And so it's always really fun to meet someone in like real life, face to face. So welcome to Dean's Chat, Dr. Medda.
Thank you. I know I'm so thankful that there are these opportunities where we can do virtual things, just like what we're doing here, but you feel like you know someone, but then when you meet them in person, it's like a whole different depth of getting to know them. Yeah. So it's wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, we'll start with just a little brief bio, and then there's a couple really neat things that you're a part of that we would love to dive into. So Dr. Medda graduated from the University of North Carolina with a degree in biology and Spanish. That's fun. I want to get more info on that. You went to Temple University for your Doctorate of Podiatric Medical medicine degree, and you did your residency at the Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center, where you're now recently the newly appointed residency director. You've been the assistant director and the clerkship director. So definitely someone who has great insights for our students about what all of this looks like. But we'll start with, how did you get into podiatry?
Yeah, so since I was like 5 years old, I always knew I wanted to go into medicine. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't know what kind of doctor. And so it really came to me when I was in college at Chapel Hill. I was really fortunate because they had this program where every semester you could volunteer with a different specialty. And my problem was I volunteer with a different specialty every semester, and I loved all of them. But it just so happened I was on break and I came back to shadow a podiatrist in my hometown, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I want to do. And so that kind of just set the dominoes into effect.
Oh, I love that. And the Spanish part. I mean, to get a minor in Spanish, that's a lot of work. Is there a backstory?
I just stumbled upon like loving it. You had to take 2 credits in college, and I just loved it so much. I just continued. And then I actually went to Peru one summer and studied abroad in Costa Rica another summer. So I got pretty good at Spanish, but now I'm embarrassed to say it really is. If you don't use it, you lose it. And so I can kind of understand, especially when patients are talking to me. But if you ask me to respond, I have some Southern accent Spanish for you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I took French in high school and I live in Arizona. That was not a poor choice, but not one that I often get to make use of. So I can definitely relate. Jeff, your thoughts initially right out the gate.
Well, I'm super excited to talk to you about the progression. You did your residency at Wake Forest. I myself was a clerkship director, so I was, working, every month hand in hand with the students from all over the country. And then you went to assistant program director, now residency director. As you've grown into the residency director position, I imagine, you said you're a month into it. What's going to be your stamp on the program, Ashleigh?
Well, I've kind of been here through the program's infancy. So I was the second class of residents to ever come through Wake Forest. So I really have seen it grow from the very beginning to what it is now. And so over that entire time that I've been here, we've made all these little changes and modifications to make it the program that it is now. So me coming in, starting, I told all the residents, we're not trying to change anything. I think we've built over the last 11 years this wonderful program. So my stamp is we're going to kind of continue with the status quo, make little modifications because no program is ever 100%, great. We can always do better and improve. So that's kind of my stamp.
I love that. We say that at the college too. If you're just maintaining status quo, you're falling behind. You're either getting better or getting worse. So kudos to you. And what a phenomenal program. I have students, and Joe and I were talking about this earlier. Students are always asking us about Wake Forest and doing the East Coast, North Carolina swing. And we look forward to talking to you more about your program specifically and the externship because the students are very interested.
Maybe that's a good place to start.
Sure.
Since you were the clerkship director, something Jeff and I get all the time. How do you stand out in your application as an extern?
I think some of your letters of recommendation stand out. I think podiatry is a small world, and so we kind of get to know each other. And so when we see people write these like really wonderful letters of recommendation, we're like, wow, they stood out to this person, and so they need to be standing out to us as well. I think other things that stand out for us is research and volunteer work too. But yeah, every student just increasingly is amazing. And so it's just really hard to choose which students you're going to pick. You want to pick them all.
Yeah. No,
For
I could
sure.
definitely mirror that. I am so completely blown away by how accomplished these students are and how engaged they really are and where they want to go and the kind of work they want to do. Jeff, your experience.
I'm exactly the same. And every year, I always tell the students there's so many positions open. You might not get the exact programs you want in the exact month, but your odds of getting one of the programs that you really are looking for are tremendously good. So, how many clerks do you take a month, and in which months do you take them, Ashleigh?
So we take on average 3 a month. We're opening it up this year to take 4 during some of the higher interest months. So just to try to get more people coming to our program, and because it is hard, you want to select everyone. It's hard to work around schedules. So hopefully this will give people more opportunities.
Oh, for sure. And then somebody comes in for a month. It's a set period of time. Do you have a schedule that you hand them, or is it a week to week schedule? How do you do the administrative part of the clerkship?
So we have an administrative chief who is wonderful. And so they do the schedule. And so as a student, you kind of come in and you have an idea of what's going to happen. But week to week, we send out a weekly schedule for all of us. And so the students will know where they're going like a week in advance. So that's kind of how that works. And we try to give them a good mix of clinic and the OR because our goal is we want you to feel like a resident. We want you to see what the residents are doing because that ultimately will be what you would be doing if you became a resident here.
Joe, when the students come and they ask about Wake Forest, I'm going to say, well, here is the list of publications from Dr. Medda. Make sure you read them all.
That's right. I do tell them that. It's a
I
really,
do.
you can look up who faculty that are listed on the website anyway. There's always going to be faculty that are part of the program that you might interact with that aren't listed on the website. But you can just do a quick lit search and even just get some titles and get a feel for kind of what their strengths or interests might be. And if you know you're going to be with that person, it's a good idea to look into that subject to just kind of be prepared.
It's a good conversation starter.
Absolutely. Hey, I read your article on, right?
Oh, yeah,
Everyone
there you
loves
go.
that.
That's right. Especially if you ask them a question and they already know the answer. I'd love that.
You're
Um,
going.
yeah, absolutely. So I have a question for you. So as you know, many of the schools start their clerkships in May or June. and it's an early month, right? They're just finishing their third year, just beginning their fourth year. They don't feel prepared. And they always ask me, should I go to this high-powered program? Should I go to my number one choice early? Or should I really wait to get it in October or November after I've learned a little bit more? Do you have a philosophy on that? Does it matter when students come to visit your program, Ashleigh?
I don't really think it matters. We actually have a review committee where we review multiple times because we don't want to forget anyone, especially if someone rotated early and was outstanding. We are not going to forget you. So I don't want you to worry about that. And also we're kind of under the mindset too of we understand like when people are first rotating, you're a brand new your knowledge level is not going to be the same as when you're graduating. And so we also take that into consideration too. So I don't want them to be nervous about that either.
Yeah, they're nervous about enough. They don't need to be worried about that. That's kind of my take on it.
I remember fourth year, I want to say each year comes with its own stresses, but that was just like the most stressful year. It does get better. You get different stresses, but that was a really stressful year.
For sure. And then do you pick, sorry, Joe, I don't mean to hog all the questions here. Do you pick your residents typically from your clerkship pool?
No, not always. I think a lot of the rotators do interview with us. But one of our new interns, she did not rotate here. So you do not have to rotate to be considered for residency.
Well, that's fantastic.
I have a piggyback on that.
Sure.
Is that okay? So, because often too, our students, they may be driving from one place to another. Is visiting allowed? Does it help if maybe you weren't able to secure the month that, again, just based on the logistics, sometimes it's like, trying to fly from the East Coast to the West Coast to the back, like it just doesn't make sense. Is it encouraged to try to visit if they could make that happen in their travels?
It is. We completely understand that there are circumstances and how everything is set up. It is hard to get the months that you need to get sometimes. And so if people can take time out of their schedule and visit, that speaks volumes. So it's not a requirement, but it certainly looks favorably if you can visit.
Awesome. Because I've told them, even if you can't go in the operating room, obviously you're not credentialed in the same way as if you're rotating as a student, but you can still get a feel for like even just an academic meeting where you get a vibe of how the residents and the attendings interact with each other. You get a little bit of a feel of, you can talk to the residents and get their perspective. And those things are valuable, even if it's just a half a day or, one meeting or something, grand rounds in the morning on the way to somewhere else. So I just want to make sure as we tell people like, hey, yeah, reach out and do that. It's not like, yeah, actually we prefer you not visit, or if it doesn't give, some kind of perspective from your end, then that we're not giving them bad advice. So
I think of it from like the program's lens a lot. Of course I do. So, we're looking at it. They took the time to come visit us. But if you look at it from the student's lens, how do you know you will really want to go to like Wake Forest if you haven't come to visit and kind of seen what our culture is here? So I think it's so important for both sides.
Absolutely. Jeff and I, we've talked on this podcast and with multiple students about like that feel. So there's some great training all across the country, but so much of residency is very individualized, and you won't really know if that's really for you until you've had the chance to try it on a little bit, sit through a couple meetings or ORs.
I have a question for you, Ashleigh, and this isn't really to put you on the spot, but I'm just trying to quantify this thought. So much of, when I was working with the North Colorado residency program, I was on the residency selection committee, and you're always balancing out super intelligent, smart, answering all the questions versus social skills, getting along with others, teachable, all of those kind of things. Could you quantify that? Is it like 50-50, 60-40, 40-60? What are you looking for in a resident? Because you really got to weigh it all out, right?
We do, and it makes it hard. We do have a minimum GPA requirement, which is a 3.0. So, at that point, it's like everyone is intelligent and everyone has great, work ethic and is smart. So really what we're looking for is how do you come and integrate with our team? And I don't just mean like team, like the attendings and the residents. It's like, how are you interacting with our nurses and the OR staff and things like that? Because especially in this day and age in medicine, teamwork is everything. And so that's really what we're looking for. And also someone who wants to learn, right? In medicine, we should be lifelong learners. And that's why we're doing a residency, because if we knew everything, we wouldn't need to go and do a residency. So we're looking for teamwork and just the want to learn.
Yeah, engagement is so important, and then you don't want to feel like you're pulling them through the mud. You want them to be going for it. So I like that so much. I noticed you avoided the percentages. I was going to say, like, give me 50-50 or 40 technical, 60 soft skills.
Well, I think soft skills are a lot because you can teach the technical skills.
Oh, there's a good point.
Yes.
Yeah. If I funny story, when we would do our social interviews in North Colorado, we'd take a handful of students out for dinner, and sometimes we'd shoot some pool to kind of get their vision of angles and touch, and we just thought that was that was better than like carving a talus out of a
bar of soap.
Yeah, and so there's a lot. Do you do any fun stuff like that? Any hand skills in the interviews?
And so I was going to say, I don't want to give too much away, even though.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Talk. And we may change things, but historically, we've never done any technical things in interviews. It's all like social questions. And so I think it's getting at, how are you interacting with teams? Like, how do you take on challenge and adversity and things like that? Because those are important.
Absolutely. Oh, that's fantastic. I want to come out and do your clerkship. What months are available next year?
Well, you better hurry up and select some because I think we have to select them in October. So.
All right, I'll get right on that.
Yeah, we've already got students making appointments to come talk about their lists of where they're looking and kind of what their hopes are. And it's the key time for these conversations.
Absolutely.
I was thinking maybe we would transition. What do you think, Jeff?
Heck yeah.
All right, because Ashleigh, you are an incredibly dedicated service member to both the profession, but also your community at large. We'll start with the profession. You're a committee member. We talked about the ABFAS exam prep task force, but also the standard setting panel, the American College of Foot and Ankle Surgeons, the Consumer Education Committee, but also with APMA, the American Podiatric Medical Association, on their communications committee. Tell us a little bit about your philosophy. Like, why service to the profession?
I think it's so important to give back to this profession because I feel like in my short time, I'm, 7 years past residency now, it's given so much to me. And I just feel so passionate that I joke around that I think that podiatry is like the best hidden gem, but I actually don't want it to be hidden. So I feel like the more we give back and the more we reach out to the public and just do things like this podcast and get out there, people know about podiatry and what amazing field it is.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. It's funny, like the connection part, the meeting people, hearing the incredible work that people are doing in our profession and in our community. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
No, I know, no doubt about it. Especially when you start talking about communications, that's part and parcel to branding of a profession, getting the public to know what we're doing, stimulating undergraduate students that are interested in the medical profession to look at podiatry and view it as a viable option. But on top, I mentioned this earlier. So you got APMA, you got ACFAS and ABFAS. That's a lot. That's a lot of giving back to the profession. And it's always the same, right? If you need something done, go find a really busy person and task them with it, and they'll add it to the mix. But thank you for all you do for the profession. That's incredible.
I joke because I come home and my husband, I'm like, oh, I joined another committee. And he was like, another one?
I know I had to like have a hard stop. My husband was like, I fully support you in the things you want to do. But like at some point we need to kind of keep in mind there are checks and balances that just and it just gets away from you. Not only are you, though, strong in your service to our profession, but you also have a really strong student mentor program. Is that through the university with Wake Forest?
It is. And so
tell us about that.
Yeah, so the undergraduate program has this great connector where people who are interested in going into a medical field can link up with like one or two doctors or NPs, PAs, and kind of just get a feel for different professions. And so they signed up with me because I'm actually, podiatry is in the orthopedic department. And so they sign up with me through ortho. And then they get to know me through podiatry, and they're just like, wow. Most of them are like, I've never heard about podiatry. This is great. So, I'm able to kind of help them kind of navigate and figure out what they want to do. But I'm also hopefully giving back to the profession. I'm like, hey, look at this profession. It's great. So we've actually been able to get one person to go into podiatry because of this. And I feel like that's a huge win. So I'm excited about that.
That's fantastic. And, it's so interesting talking with students because we often will talk with medical students that are interested in getting information. And I don't remember what we call them, like a pre-introduction or something. And as you really start to like dive in, like, tell me what your interests are. What is it that drove you into medicine? Or what is it that you're wanting to do in your career? When you start to get to the root of why for people, it's remarkable how many boxes actually get checked through, I had a really great student who his interests were really actually very much dermatology and research, and he had no idea. Again, this is an opportunity in a market actually that doesn't have maybe as much to say that like he could really create this whole niche, and you can like see the little lights go off like I hadn't even thought about that. So I think that's wonderful that your school does that to help, again, much like your own experience. Here's all of these different professions, try them all on, see what you think. Nothing gives you more perspective than a day in the life of. I'm curious, when you were a student, what was it about your experience with podiatry? Was there one specific area, or what was it that really was like the aha moment?
Where when I shadowed the podiatrist in my
Yeah.
hometown, I think I just really liked that they did kind of everything. So it was like you see kids. And I tell people this all the time. It's like my youngest patient is like 3 months. My oldest patient is like 103. And then we do anything from, like toenails to we're doing ankle fractures, and so you can have it all. And that's kind of like what I like is you can just do everything. And then it's kind of nice because you could, tailor your practice to something if you so choose, or you could keep it broad. So really it's very flexible.
Yeah, that's certainly your statement, Jeff. The podiatrists are happy because we get to kind of tailor a little bit. You have the option of really tailoring your practice to doing what you want to do.
Absolutely. And to that end, I was looking at the research you've been publishing from the residency program, and you're publishing in an array of journals. And I think that's interesting because that highlights that you're doing research that your residents are probably really interested in, as opposed to you just saying, this is what you're going to research this year.
That's exactly what happens is they kind of come to us with ideas, and they kind of know what attendings are interested in what. And so they come up with these ideas and kind of speak to an attending, and, we just kind of start the ball rolling. And I'm actually really proud of our program with our research because we've been doing so much research. We actually have our own research coordinator, which is amazing. So we've had that for a couple of years now, and that's really helped us to kind of blossom and do even more research.
That's fabulous because sometimes that is the block. We have colleagues at major institutions around the country that when I ask them about, you used to do tons of clinical trials, you don't do as many anymore. And they just said funding for help, for assistance, medical assistance, not just research assistance, just isn't what it used to be. So that's incredible. Any advice you have for our colleagues around the country for research, and specifically, how do you get a research associate? What was your title for that?
Research coordinator.
Coordinator, and is that's more than just clinical trials, right? That's for all the different research.
It is. So we just feel very fortunate being at an academic institution. I think we have a little bit more resources, and also being under the orthopedic umbrella, and they already had this kind of going on, and we were kind of using some of their coordinators, and it was finally like, oh my goodness, like you guys have 55 open projects, like you need your own coordinator. And so that's really how we got that. And I think they just see the value in putting out research to, better our profession, better patient care. And so I really appreciate them supporting us in that.
That's great. I mean, I can't think of a better way to propel your program into the top tiers of all residencies than to open up any random journal and see something coming out of Wake Forest. Congratulations. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And this might be a great time for a quick, speaking of research, having just come back from the National, have a whole research seminar there. Did you guys have a resident presenting?
We did not have a resident presenting this year, but one of our residents who had just graduated did the Emerging Leaders program with me.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
there was him who graduated, who just graduated, and then myself. It was so nice at graduation because I was like, "Oh, this is not goodbye. I'll see you in a couple months." So it was really sad at the National. Like, oh my goodness, like this is goodbye for now, but not forever.
Oh, I love that. Again, those in-person connections that the really does just that's the human part of what we do. But where I was going with that as I started to get sidetracked, we'll take a quick break to hear from our sponsor of the show, and then we'll be right back.
Did you know APMA provides help with public health initiatives such as fall prevention, opioid abuse prevention, and addressing health disparities?
Did you know the APMA provides over $400,000 in scholarships annually to students pursuing podiatric medicine, helping the next generation of foot and ankle specialists?
If you're serious about this profession, if you want to grow, to lead, to make a lasting impact, join APMA today.
All right, well, welcome back. I'd like to transition maybe a little bit before we get too far. There's a very special project that you helped launch, Ashleigh, in 2020 in your community. I think you called it DECA, DEAC Foot and Ankle Clinic. Can you tell us a little bit about what that stands for and how you got involved?
Yes, so it's called the DEAC Clinic.
DEAC.
Yes, it's a spin because at Wake Forest we are the Demon Deacons, so it's DEAC as in deacon, and so it stands for Delivering Equal Access to Care, so DEAC. And so this clinic started really as primary for people who didn't have primary care, who didn't have insurance, or who didn't qualify for public assistance, and it had been going on for a couple of years. And then in 2019, 2020, a medical student at the Wake Forest School of Medicine approached me and said, "Hey, I've identified this need where these community members who are unhoused, they really need some help with their foot care because you don't think about it often. But when you are unhoused, usually your feet are your number one mode of transportation. And so if your feet are hurting you, if you don't have the right shoes, it's hard to get to your appointments or get to your job or so forth." And so together we created the DEAC Foot and Ankle Clinic under this like DEAC primary care umbrella, and it started in 2020. So we're 5 years in, and it's just been amazing. We have clinic once a month. And it's run by the Wake Forest University medical students and PA students. And our residents come, and I have some attendings come. And so we see about 30 to 36 patients every month. And it's amazing. We've partnered with a local running shoe store who donate shoes. So everyone's able to walk away with like a brand new pair of like Hoka's Brook, like really, really nice shoes. So it's just so nice to give to the community. But it's also like a piece of education too, because gosh, you got to learn so much stuff in school and like medical school and PA school. It's really hard to think that they're able to spend the time like getting to know how to do a good foot and ankle exam. And it's so important for so many different specialties, like whether it's dermatology or vascular or primary care. And so we really want to make sure that they feel comfortable doing that. So we have some research around that. So it's just really fun.
Oh, I love that. Before I hog the interview though, Jeff, I'm gonna throw the ball back to you.
I forgot to ask you earlier, Ashleigh, how many attendees do you have at the program that you can like spread around to these different events and all the cases and keep the residents busy?
We have 11, but we just keep adding more. So we just hired someone who's starting this month, and then it's in the works to hire someone else. So we are just growing and expanding. which is amazing because when I was a resident, there were 2 podiatrists. So now we've just, gosh, not doubled, just exploded.
Well, I think it's in, yeah, 6X, right? Well, I think it's interesting you talk about the gait and gait analysis and how important it is, because when you were at Temple, I'm dating us now, we're 13 years ago, you were the Gates Study Center's research assistant. So this research has never been far from your heart.
It really hasn't. You're right. It was such a fun opportunity the summer between first and second year. I was able to just stay in Philadelphia and work in our gait analysis research lab. And so just working on a couple of different projects that were already in the works, and really understanding how gait analysis works, which was really, really fun. And we had some professional hockey players come because they would get inserts for their skates. And that was just very cool.
That's very cool. Absolutely.
That is really cool. And look at the variety too of everyone we just talked about. You've talked about kids, elderly, injuries, sports medicine with the hockey players, and vulnerable populations like the unhoused. And I'm curious, as you've been working with both students, PAs, medical students, and podiatry students, and then residents, what advice do you give people working with some of these vulnerable populations? Because it is a unique health system that we try to help manage these patients.
Yeah, it can be challenging, and not so much challenging like doing the patient care. It's just challenging understanding what resources that you can, provide them, and asking the right questions to be able to figure out what they need, and then what resources are in your community to be able to help them. And so that's why I think it's so important to start learning about this and kind of getting involved in it as a student or as a resident, because the earlier you kind of start becoming comfortable with that, the easier it is to advocate for your patients when you're in attending.
Yeah, I love that. And nothing will be more revealing than just asking patients sometimes what their barriers are. And certainly in a vulnerable population, I remember, just as you said, I had a gentleman, I met him in the hospital for the first time, and he required a transmetatarsal amputation. You talk about your postoperative care, like you can't really walk on this, and you do the whole demonstration. And it's not that he didn't understand that. It was just, that was just not an option. And I remember I watched him as I went to run an errand at lunchtime, and I saw him walking to his appointment to follow up with me, because that was the only thing that he knew of in terms of a resource to get from point A to point B. And so I think what you're doing is outstanding. And then having that opportunity to engage so many different people in that experience. I learn something every day from our students, and I'm sure you learn something every day from your patients and students as well. What have been some of the biggest wins in your experience with starting this clinic?
I think the building the trust, because it's well documented and kind of known that this population has kind of trust issues with the medical community in general, which I understand. They feel like they're going to be discriminated against. And so part of this foot clinic was that we wanted to make them feel comfortable with, we're providing foot care, but if they start to feel comfortable with us, and I should mention that our clinic is actually in a homeless community center. So that was a big part of our clinic, is going to them, like where they felt comfortable. So we build that trust and that comfort level. And then maybe, we talk to them about their diabetes or their, mental health issues. And now they feel more comfortable with medical providers. And now maybe they're more willing to go to the hospital or go to the clinic to seek help about their diabetes or, anything.
Yeah, I love that. And you'd mentioned medicine is a team sport.
It is. Yeah. So I've had a patient who we met in that clinic, and then they came to the hospital, but I realized that they had gotten an endocrinologist, like have a PCP. And so that was a huge win for me.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, that degree of care that you helped kind of inspire and coordinate. Oh, that's incredible.
And it's
Sure
not
is.
students. I can't take the credit.
So I have a question for you, Ashleigh. The common theme with young leaders is somebody had to show you the way. Can you do any shout outs to your mentors throughout your podiatric career?
Dr. Andy Meyer. I really credit him with just being so involved and just really passionate about education and teaching. So thank you. To my residency director who started our residency program, Dr. Robert Sprinkle. I wouldn't be here without him. He really 100% paved the way for me. So I really appreciate those mentors.
Common theme, Joe.
Indeed. And again, what a beautiful ripple for both of those surgeons to see the outreach of their investment in the best thing that we can give each other is time. And that's just, you are doing that now with your residents, and it's being able to continue to watch that spread in the community wherever they go, and the inspirations that they're like, oh, I saw this as a resident and I want to get involved in my community and this is how I can do it. And there's so many different ways. So I guess that might be another point to touch on. Certainly teaching and service are huge in your experience in your career. What advice would you have someone, let's say they're out of residency, or maybe they're still a resident in that almost transition zone, and they're wanting to get involved, but they don't know what to do? What advice would you give them?
I would say find someone who is involved and kind of let them mentor you. And also just put yourself out there. Like some of these committees I applied for, I didn't know if I was going to get them or not, but I was like, I would just put my name in the hat. So don't be shy to make connections. And even if you don't think that you're going to get it, just try, because you might. Or if you don't get it, try again the next year, because you might get it the next year. So never sell yourself short. And if you want something, just go after it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's words of wisdom right there. Joe, you want to do some? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's hard because sometimes you nailed it, Ashleigh. Like you don't know if you're going to get it, and there's all this imposter syndrome. I'm like, oh, but I don't know if I should try it yet. Just leap first, Geronimo.
Yeah, especially
all
women, then for sure. So yes.
And actually, sorry, Jeff.
Okay.
Savannah Santiago said this weekend, and I absolutely loved it. Why not you? Right? Because we're like, oh, but why me? Right? Like, who am I to do this thing? Why not you? Be the person. Who says you can't do it? So anyway, shout out to Savannah.
Absolutely. You want to do some rapid fire, Joe?
Oh, I really do. These are fun rapid fire, Ashleigh. They're not hard or scary. They're like the fun stuff that we talk about.
So okay, I'll go first. So Ashleigh, you've got a little one, 2 years old. What's the first thing when you walk in the door that the little one jumps in your arms?
Yes, she runs, "Mommy's home." It's the best feeling. It is.
Is it a little girl, you said?
It is, yes, little girl, Chloe.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, nothing will teach you more about time than watching it in human form, right? You had mentioned like she's going to be turning 3, and like it's incredible how it just gets away from you. All right, my favorite question that I ask most people: what kind of music do you like to listen to in the OR?
90s.
Oh, 90s what?
I don't know. It's just what I call 90s.
Kind of classic rock?
Yes.
Okay, give me like 2 or 3 bands that you like to listen to.
Well, this might not be under that category, but I love Dave Matthews.
Okay.
In the OR, I tell the residents or the staff, we'll just listen to whatever you want. Usually it's Taylor Swift, if I'm being honest. And the guys like Taylor Swift more than the girls now, which is really interesting. I love it.
That's fantastic.
All right, Ashleigh, you have a week off with your husband and your little one, and you can go vacation anywhere you want for a week. Where are you going?
I love the beach. I think just watching the waves come and go, it's just so relaxing to me. So that's where I'm going to pick 100% of the time.
A specific beach?
Well, I like to venture out and try different ones, but my family has this one beach in South Carolina that we've always gone to every year since I was 5. So I think about my happy place, and that it's that beach.
Fantastic.
There's nothing more special than going somewhere like getting chronologic memories that stack on each other. I think that's really cool that you've had that kind of a family and that you're passing that down to your family now. That's really neat. All right, so you're on this beach. What are you drinking? What's your favorite beverage of choice?
Well, I would be drinking a margarita, but my favorite beverage of choice if we're going alcoholic would be red wine. If it's
Okay.
not, it's probably this Dr. Pepper that I got from the Surgeon's Lounge before I came over here to do the podcast.
Fantastic. Now, what kind of red wine is there like one specific varietal that you like?
Cabernet.
Okay. All right.
Actually, you may have already answered this one in a different form, but what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Oh, that's good.
Just give yourself some grace. I am a goal setter. And that I feel like that's helped me along the way, but maybe what you put your mind to at 1 year or 5 years, maybe it's not going to work out till 10 years and that's okay. Or maybe what you said at 5 years is actually going to work out in 1 year, and don't be shocked. You will be ready and it's okay. So just give yourself some grace.
Love it.
Yeah, that's really good. If you could invite anyone to dinner from any time period in history, could be famous or personal, who would it be and why?
I would have to say Eleanor Roosevelt.
Oh, I love Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
So I have to take a little side story that I came from a really, really small town, and we had this like Labor Day pageant, and I am not a pageant girl by any means. I wish I was that cool. But I did win Miss Labor Day, and you had to be a character, and I was Eleanor Roosevelt. And I just think that she just embodies like a strong feminine person. And so I would want to just talk to her and ask her a million questions. So that's who I would pick.
Oh, I love that.
Joe, I'm gonna turn the tables. Who would you go out for dinner with? Anybody in history?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I have like a list, right?
I figured.
So if I had to pick just one, it would probably be my dad's dad, my grandfather, because I never got to meet him.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, and he was a chemist for the something national, some federal something or other. I feel like it's quite suspect how he died, but I would just love to pick his brain. He went to MIT and he was a huge inspiration for my dad. So that would be it.
Very
And
cool.
then outside of that would be Albert Einstein.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to Albert Einstein. So many things about him but
I'll have to send you a picture.
Eleanor Roosevelt is definitely in my top list for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. A funny story, I was down giving a talk in Sao Paulo in Brazil, and there's Albert Einstein Hospital down there. And there's this big picture it's a statue of Einstein sitting. And when I walked up to it and I was pretending like I was having a conversation, and one of my buddies took a picture, and I'll send it to you.
Oh, fantastic.
That's always been my thought too, Einstein. Right on.
There's so many cool people that I like. Salvador Dali, I would love to talk to him, but I'm going to stay focused because I felt myself squirrel, right? Like I felt myself just, and this is not my interview. I want to ask Ashleigh some more questions, but
okay.
Another time, Jeff, maybe when we have somebody cancel last minute, we could just have a fun talk about stuff like that. All right. So my other favorite question that I definitely want to get your take on, Ashleigh, books that have inspired you in your life. They could be fiction, they could be nonfiction. It could be from when you were a kid to something recent. It doesn't matter, but
yeah, I'm trying to think because I read a ton of books. I actually commute an hour, so I'm always listening to podcasts like this one, or books. But usually it's like not educational stuff because it's my downtime.
yeah.
But honestly, like the places you'll go, Dr. Seuss. It sounds so corny, but it's so true. And that's what I want for my daughter is like, the places you go. It's going to be exciting to see where her life leads her.
Yeah, he's another one on my list. I played the sousaphone specifically because I thought it looked like a Dr. Seuss instrument, and I loved Dr. Seuss. So,
oh my gosh, Jeff. That is so good. All right. You can travel anywhere in the world. Not so much what you're going to do when you get there, but just go for the culture. Where would you go?
I think I will have to say Greece because my husband and I just went there this past October, and it really surprised me because we like to travel, so we've been to a bunch of different places, but that has been my number one place And it's just because everyone who we met was just so relaxed and inviting. And I loved that. And just like not slow pace in a bad way, but where you're actually enjoying life and you can just take a breath and, smell the roses, as people say. So I would say, let's go back to Greece.
Oh, I like that. Any specific area in Greece?
We went to Naxos, and that was so nice. It was like a little beach town kind of feeling. And yeah, we literally just got to relax. And I am not that person on vacation. I am like, we're on a field trip because we know nothing here. And my husband is the opposite. And so he was so happy that we had kind of planned this little side island. And I don't want to tell him that he was right, but he was. It was just so nice to just like relax. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's so funny. So I have to tell a quick little personal vignette because that's just too funny. So the very first time my husband and I, we were dating at the time, went on a vacation together. I'm not even kidding. He had like a printed itinerary, right? And I'm like, oh, honey, let me teach you. We were in Hawaii and I'm like, let me teach you the way to do vacation. Like, we're going to block out a day where we don't do anything. Like, I know you want to do all the stuff and I'm all about it, but like you get to schedule one thing a day. We're on vacation.
No, that's so funny. That's exactly what he said. We went on a trip together early on and we sat down and he was like, this is not going to work unless we change the way we vacation together.
Like, we need a vacation from your vacation, my love. Like, let's just like have a minute. And so now it's funny. We always have a Joe day where this is the day that I don't know. Cause then you also get there and sometimes you find out about cool things that maybe you hadn't heard about. And people are like, oh, but you're so scheduled that you got no flexibility.
Funny.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, Ashleigh, we so appreciate you taking time to talk. And it's so fun because oftentimes we're always talking about podiatry. We're always talking about students or residents or committees or organizations. It's been fun just to get to know you today. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank
you so much for having me. It's been super fun.
And also, Ashleigh, we're going to send you a Dean's Chat mug.
Oh, wonderful.
Yep.
My Dr. Pepper in there.
You can put Dr. Pepper in it for sure. And so you start your day the Dean's Chat way with a little Dr. Pepper in your Dean's Chat mug. Perfect.
To start the day.
That sounds good. Joe, any last words?
No, thank you so much again, Ashleigh, for your time and for all the work that you're doing for your residents, for these medical students, prospective students, your patients, and all of the people in the community that you serve. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can't do it without the team.
Absolutely. Well, to all of our listeners, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating, or better yet, leave a couple comments. And if you're watching on YouTube, by all means, become a subscriber. Joe and I will continue to bring leaders in the podiatric profession. And just like Ashleigh, this was a wonderful discussion today. Thank you again. And until next week, everybody, cheers.